Elias Rowan had built his reputation on being unshakable. In the world of tech acquisitions, where billion-dollar deals lived and died with a single hesitation, Elias was known as the man who never flinched. But tonight, at 32,000 feet, even the famously composed CEO wasn't prepared for what was happening 2 seats to his left. His 3-year-old daughter Lila was screaming and not just whimpering or fussing. She was crying so hard, her tiny body shook, her face blotched red, her small fists pounding against the seat, in panic as the first wave of turbulence rattled the plane. "Daddy, stop, please," Lila sobbed, reaching for him in a way that made the entire cabin's tension shift toward them. "I know, baby, I know," Elias murmured, trying desperately to keep his voice steady. "It's okay, you're safe, I'm right here." But Lila was inconsolable. Every jolt of turbulence sent her spiraling deeper into fear. This wasn't how the trip was supposed to go. Elias had planned a simple, quiet weekend away, with his daughter something to make up for the months he had been swallowed by his work. After the sudden passing of his wife, Harper, he'd told himself that this trip would help him reconnect with the daughter who now treated the world, and sometimes even him, like something uncertain and frightening. He didn't expect turbulence on the first hour of the flight. He didn't expect every passenger to turn and stare, and he certainly didn't expect the rising wave of helplessness crashing into his chest. He bounced Lila gently, whispered soothing reassurances, tried humming the lullaby Harper used to sing, but nothing worked, not tonight, not with the cabin lights dimmed, the thunderous shaking overhead, or the sudden reminder, sharp as broken glass, that without Harper, he was still learning how to be both mother and father. Lila shrieked again, trembling so hard it made Elias's throat close. Passengers murmured. Some sighed loudly. A man in business class pulled his noise-canceling headphones off with an exaggerated glare. Elias ignored them. His daughter came first, but Lila's cries only heightened. She was overwhelmed, exhausted, terrified, and Elias could feel her fear bleeding into his own. Then he heard a soft voice beside him. "Do you mind if I try?" Elias turned, surprised. He hadn't even realized the young woman in the aisle seat had been watching quietly. She couldn't have been older than 27. A single mother, he assumed, traveling alone with a sleeping toddler curled against her shoulder. Her eyes were warm but steady, the kind that didn't judge or pity, just understood. Elias blinked. I don't want to bother you." "You're not," she said with a gentle smile. "I know that kind of cry. She's past the point of hearing anything familiar. Sometimes it takes a different rhythm or a different touch." He hesitated. He didn't know her. She didn't owe him anything. But Lila was crying so hard she could barely breathe, and something in the young mother's voice felt safe. "Okay," he whispered. "Please." She shifted slightly, careful not to wake her own child. "Hi, sweetheart," she said softly, leaning just close enough for Lila to hear, but not enough to invade her space. "That shaking is scary, isn't it? I know it feels like the sky is moving too fast." Lila's cries didn't stop, but they faltered. Barely, but they faltered. The young mother extended her hand slowly, palm up, inviting but not demanding. "Can I show you something? Just one tiny trick? It used to help my son when he got too scared." Elias held his breath, waiting to see what his daughter would choose. Lila hiccuped through her sobbing, staring at the stranger's hand. Her trembling fingers reached out and touched the woman's palm. "There you go," the woman whispered, Now give me your other hand." Lila reached, still shaking. The young mother cupped the child's small hands gently and began tapping a soft rhythmic pattern numbed so finger, thumb slow and hypnotic, like a heartbeat outside the body. "This is called butterfly tapping," she explained quietly to Elias. "It calms the nervous system, helps them feel grounded." Lila's sobs softened. Her breathing steadied slowly but undeniably. The cabin eased too, as if everyone had been holding their breath. "You're doing so well, sweetheart," the woman whispered. "You're so brave." Elias felt emotion rise in his throat, unexpected, uninvited, overwhelming. Harper had known tricks like this. Harper had known exactly how to reach their daughter when emotions swallowed her whole. He had tried so hard to fill the space she left behind, but tonight he had failed. And this stranger, the young mother with the steady voice, was doing what he couldn't. When the turbulence surged again, Lila whimpered, but she didn't scream. She clutched the woman's fingers instead, her breathing ragged but steadying. "There you go," the woman murmured. "You're not falling. You're not alone. Daddy's right here. And so am I." Lila looked up at her, eyes wet and trembling. "Hurts." "I know, sweet girl. Sometimes fear feels like hurting. But look, your hands are strong. You're strong." Elias wiped his daughter's cheek, swallowing the ache in his chest. "Thank you," he whispered, voice cracking. The woman smiled softly. "Moms learn these things the hard way. I'm just glad it helped." The plane jolted again, but this time, Lila squeezed the woman's hand instead of screaming. Elias exhaled a breath he'd been holding for far too long. And in that moment, somewhere above the clouds, surrounded by strangers, he realized something he hadn't allowed himself to accept. He couldn't do this alone, and he didn't have to. The turbulence finally eased, smoothing into a gentle hum as the cabin lights brightened slightly. Lila had stopped crying entirely, still holding the young mother's hand, her head resting against Elias's chest now. Exhaustion clung to her tiny lashes, but the panic had melted away. Elias felt his entire body sag with relief. "I don't know how to thank you," he said, looking at the woman beside him. His voice was low, rough. "You saved us both." She shook her head gently. "You were doing your best. Sometimes our kids just need someone whose voice sounds different." Her toddler stirred on her shoulder, and she shifted him carefully, brushing a curl away from his forehead. Elias watched the movement, the tenderness, the experience, the instinct, and realized how deeply he missed having that kind of balance in his home. Harper had always known what to do. He had been learning in the dark. The woman glanced over again. "I'm Naraya, by the way." Elias blinked. "Naraya, that's beautiful. I'm Elias, and this is Lila." Naraya smiled at Lila, who peeked up at her shyly. "You're very brave, Lila," she whispered. Lila tugged Elias's sleeve. "Daddy," she helped. "I know, sweetheart." He brushed her hair back. "She helped us a lot." As the flight attendants came through with water cups and reassurances, the tension in the cabin eased. People stopped staring. Some even smiled softly at the now peaceful toddler and the young mother who had performed what felt like magic. Elias kept glancing at Neria, at her calm presence, at the way she gently rocked her sleepy son, at the softness in her eyes that didn't feel performative or draining. Something about her felt familiar, not because he knew her, but because her kindness carried the same warmth Harper used to radiate. "Do you travel often?" he found himself asking. Neria shook her head. Not really. My parents live in Seattle. I'm taking my son to see them. It's been a hard year, so I guess I needed the break. Elias nodded. I understand that more than you think. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The hum of the plane filled the quiet. Lila's breathing grew slower, heavier, settling into the rhythm of sleep. Then Neria spoke softly. You're a good father, Elias. He almost laughed bitterly, thinking of the panic, the helplessness. What made you think that? He asked quietly. The way you looked at her, Neria replied, without hesitation. Every second she cried, you looked like you were breaking right along with her. Bad fathers don't break for their children. Elias swallowed hard, emotion tightening his throat. She hasn't let anyone else touch her since... He paused, unable to finish. Since we lost her mother. Neria's expression softened with a depth only someone who had known their own storms could carry. Then the fact that she reached for me tonight says something important. What's that? That she trusts you, Neria murmured, enough to trust the person sitting beside you. Her words landed with quiet force. The plane made its slow descent, the runway lights appearing like scattered stars below. Elias glanced at Neria again, wanting to say 100 things, but unsure how to form even one. When the wheels touched down, Lila stirred only slightly. Neria's toddler slept through it entirely. As passengers rose to gather their bags, Elias turned to her. Neria, if you ever need anything, even just help carrying something or someone to talk to, please. Let me return even a fraction of what you gave us tonight. She gave him a small smile, tired but sincere. Maybe we both needed to be on this flight, she said. Elias nodded, feeling something shift in him, something he hadn't expected, something he hadn't felt in a very long time. Not love, not yet, but possibility and healing.